Pastor George here with my guns and my religion. Well, I've owned my new Red Jacket AK-RS for about 2 months now. I think I've got all the bugs ironed out of it. So I wanted to do a little truck side / range review of this fine rifle from Red Jacket Firearms. Now before I go any further and before you start putting comments in the comments section saying, hey, wait a second, Pastor George, you're friends with the Fords and the Haydens. That's right, but that's not going to stop me from showing you the good stuff and the bad stuff on this fine rifle. Come on, let's go to the range. The first thing you're going to notice as soon as you pick up your Red Jacket rifle is that they're a class act all the way. Now most places when you show up and you buy a rifle from them, they're either going to put it in a little $2 gun sock or, I don't know, cardboard box. So they'll just hand it to you over counter and expect you to bring your own rifle case. Red Jacket provides you with a logo imprinted custom rifle case. This is good enough to ship things in. Ugh, a little heavy. As you can see, you can put a padlock on there, so if you have to take it on an airplane or you want to lock it up for shipping, you can do so. Let's take a look at the rifle. The RSAK is Red Jacket's entry into the Saiga conversion. Now, Saiga conversion comes in as a sport, with a quote, sport rifle. And there are a lot of Saiga conversions that are called AK conversions. And basically, they do a couple of things. The pistol grip doesn't come through on the sport version, so the trigger group has to be moved from where the pistol grip is currently located. And the trigger group gets moved up forward so that it can also take a standard AK magazine. Before we manipulate the rifle and keep all the safety sallies happy, let's go ahead and do a quick safety check. This magazine is obviously loaded, and we'll take it out and we'll talk about the magazine. To make an AK conversion legal in the United States, because they consider this now a assault rifle, certain parts can be made overseas. The lower receiver, barrel, gas tube, gas block, the several other parts in there, trigger group. But there can only be a maximum of 10 in the entire rifle. Now the ATF has a list of all the things. And if you take all the things put together that could be made overseas, you come up with about 15 of them. To be legal, only 10 can be made overseas. The rest have to be made in the United States. So what a company that does a Saiga conversion does is they will take in things like the buttstock here. Okay, they take the Russian-made buttstock off. This is made by Tapco in the United States. And by the way, one of the things that I don't like, personally, I don't like this Tapco stock. It's going to go very shortly, and we're going to put a Magpul stock on it. Maybe I'll do a video on that after it gets done. Pistol grip needs to be made in the United States. I'm not really too sure. This is probably also a Tapco. No, it says made by Cage. Trigger group made by Tapco. Upper rail assembly is made by Ultimac. Side rail assembly is made by if I could remember, SGM. Now, the rest of it is a Russian rifle. One of the very, very best parts of this gun, and I want to take and show you a close-up of it in just a moment, is the Mojo muzzle brake. Now this costs extra, but it's well worth it. Designed in Baton Rouge, I believe by Joe Moe. Really, really nice. Let me get, if I can get a close-up of that. You see it's sort of like got a breech kind of thing on the end of it. Let's get a better picture of that. There we go. Now we can get a better picture of that. You can see it threads on, and if you wanted to, the barrel is threaded. You could take and you could put a suppressor on there. Like I say, Joe Mo designed this. It's actually on one of the shows. You can see it from Sons of Guns, and it does a really, really good job of keeping the muzzle rise to a bare minimum. I said that there were some things I didn't care for on this. When I got the rifle, it shot incredibly low and to the left by, at 100 yards, 3 feet low and 2 feet to the left. There's a significant problem with the sighting of the front sight. Okay, now this is not all, from what I understand, not that unusual for AK variants. If you notice that front sight, I had to move it, I had to drift it all the way over to the left-hand side, or as you're looking at it, the right-hand side of the rifle. Now, in its current configuration, it's dead on the money. I like the groups and everything else. Yeah, I would have liked, I think I would have liked them to have sighted the gun in a little bit better before it ever left the factory. But then on the other hand, I have to think that, you know, when I buy a gun at a retail outlet, that half the time they charge you to take and bore sight it. So, you know, I guess it's 6 in one, half a dozen the other. It does require a special tool. So I can show you what you've got to move here. This bolt right here, this drift pin. And I got one. It's made by Tapco. There's another manufacturer of it that's gunsmith quality. I didn't bring it out with me today, and it's just sort of a little thing that pushes this in and out. Otherwise, you are not moving that baby, not at all. So if you buy either this Saiga variant or somebody else's, do yourself a favor and order the sight tool right off the bat. Now, very specifically, I did not like the sights that came on this rifle. The standard military sights on it, I thought, were very narrow, and there was absolutely no way to make any kind of windage adjustment on the sight itself. And of course, now the rifle shot pretty far to the, you know, to the lower left hand corner, so I was looking right away to fix the windage without realizing that I needed a tool for the front sight. And I purchased these. These are True Glow. Extended range sights. They're set for 1,000 meters. Okay, if you have an AK-47 and you think you're shooting it 1,000 meters accurately, you're out of your mind. Just straight up, it's not a 1,000-meter gun. It's a, I don't know, a 300-meter gun. And I'll take it and show you the reason why I like these sights a whole lot better. As you can see, these have Trigicon night sights on them. Of course, it's not nighttime. These glow pretty brightly, and I have the matching front sight to go with it, which is unremarkable other than it has a little dot in it. And the V for the rear sight is probably, I don't know, 1.5 millimeters wider than the standard military sights that come on it, making the front sight much, much easier to pick up. And basically, the way that this guy wants to sight is when you put the circle right inside that rear sight. Let's see if we can pick up on that front seat a little bit. You can see how far off it was. If you take and put that circle right in the center of that V and put the target right on the lollipop, this gun is right on at this point. So points I don't like, it wasn't well sighted from the factory, and I really didn't like the sight. I didn't like the buttstock, but that's kind of personal opinion. So we're going to give it a pass. Things that I did like on this, I've shot this at least 1,000 rounds there has been absolutely no malfunctions at all with it at all. No jams, no misfeeds, nothing like that, which I think is pretty typical of an AK variant. Let's take a look at something else that Red Jacket does that pretty much nobody else does. I'm going to put up real quick a picture of another Saiga conversion, and you'll notice that right here where the pistol grip is, you'll see a couple of rivets right here and right here. Red Jacket takes and they TIG weld this, grind it down smooth, and then the entire gun is repainted with a marine grade epoxy, marine grade paint, whatever they use. I'm not an expert on gun paints, gun finishes, but I can tell you that the fit and finish on this gun was absolutely perfect. There were no loose screws of any description. It is really a joy to behold the care that was taken in the remanufacture of this gun. Usually when you pull a gun out of the box and it's a rebuild, there's all kinds of problems, but the fact that they took and this is dead smooth. You would never know that was a conversion right there. They did a really fine job on the trigger housing, and like I say, everything just matches up perfectly. They give you a lot of options, what you want. So you've got the Mojo brake on there. You can get an Ultimac top rail. Just really a lot of attention paid to fit and finish of the weapon. At the end of the day, you can always sight a gun out. That's not a big deal. And you know, if you have a rifle and you first buy it, you know, you should sight it for yourself anyway. You can't go by the way somebody else sights it. And I had always intended to put an optic on this gun, but now with the Trijicon sights that are on there, I think that I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I like it, and it's pretty accurate, and iron sights don't run out of battery. Okay, before we put this thing through its paces, let's talk a little bit about one of the most important parts of your weapon system, and one that people never think about. That's the magazine. Now, this is the magazine that came with it. I believe this is a Yugoslavian manufacturer. Standard, really generic AK worldwide metallic magazine. These are Tapco magazines that somebody gave me for free. Now, plain and simple, okay? Don't bother with these plastic magazines. I'm going to show you why. Ain't no bullets. They are an unmitigated pain in the rear end to get seated. That really, and I've had this fall out. Versus, you take this metallic magazine, and there's a huge difference to the way it wants to feel, a huge difference to the way it wants to release. It just works a whole lot better. So if I was going to recommend anything, except for maybe range use, if you need to use this weapon for home defense, or I don't know, if the rioting starts in your town, get a stock of these metal Yugoslavian or Ukrainian type magazines. They just plain and simply work better. Works a whole lot better. The rifle, I mean, it really just wants to work perfectly every time. I have absolutely no complaints about the functionality of the weapon whatsoever. Congratulations. Now, these guys, throw these out. Keep them at the range. We're going to shoot, interestingly enough, I have some Wolf 123 grain hollow point ammunition. This stuff works really nicely. I've had really good luck with this. I like the way that it works. It's steel case stuff. It's not expensive. I bought online, I think, for about $6 a box, $5 a box. So it's just dirt cheap. It's as clean as Eastern Bloc ammo is. I just kind of find it's funny that Ukrainian ammunition works so well in a Russian gun. Maybe they could learn something from that. Well, Okay, hey, let's take it out and run it and see how she shoots. On hot. Click. That's the last thing you want to hear in a gunfight. By the way, one last thing about AK conversions. Okay, you can't do what you do with a with an AR. At least not with not having gloves on your hands. Okay, because this thing, this Ultimac rail on the top right now, is hot enough to fry bacon on. Which, I guess if you were going against jihadists, might not be a bad thing. Hey, listen, until next time, this is Pastor George from My Guns and My Religion saying, Mullen Labe, keep your powder dry, and God bless.